Hi, I'm Penny. This is Penelope's Pitstop, and in this issue we're going to be doing stage 26, connect the right arm with the elbow joint. So welcome to issue 26 or stage 26. So let's have a look at the list of pieces. We have piece 1 is the left shoulder, piece 2 is the right shoulder part, right elbow part, piece 3 is 3 times right elbow washers, piece 4 is 2 by right elbow parts, 5 is a small cylinder, 6 is 2 by PM3 by 10mm Allen screws, and piece 7 or part 27, part 7, 2 by PM2 by 10mm screws, and we have an Allen key which is part 8. So I find the screws quite interesting. It looks like they're both the same size, but they are different types of head. So I'll have a quick look at those. Yes, so one's massive and one isn't. So I'll pop those in there nice and safe. And I've still got the screws from the last issue. So let's look at step 1. Take the lower arm and hand assembly from stage 24. Identify the 2 PM2 by 6mm screws that hold part 7.3 in place. And step 2, undo the screws to release part 7.3. Put the screws safely to one side. So the part they mean is this. Now I'm guessing people might be saying, well, why did they ask us to screw it up if they want us to undo it? I suspect that because of the length of time we've done this, most of us would probably have lost these pieces by the time we come to need them. So I think the general advice going round was to screw these in very loosely. But to be honest with you, it's not a problem at all, and I would rather have had them screwed in place anyway so that we didn't lose them. So that's them off. So let's have a look at step 3. Take one of the black discs for the right elbow and apply a little super glue to each of the 4 studs. And step 4, fix the black disc into the recess in the top of the lower arm. The 4 studs fit into the recess in the part. Repeat step 3 with a second rubber disc 24/6 and fit into the part 7.3. In this case the studs fit into the 4 holes in the part. So these are the black discs in question, these 2, and there doesn't seem to be any difference between the 2. They've even got a number 4 written on them, both in exactly the same position. So what's going to happen is this is going to go into there like that, and they actually fit in really tight, which begs the question, does it need super glue? Now I'm using this knife because I don't want to shove a screwdriver in there, and I haven't got anything else. That's not coming out. So let's pretend that we're doing this one next. So what we're going to do, you see that those 4 lugs will go into those 4 holes. So it doesn't matter which way round they go, and you may need to rotate them a bit. There we go. And this one, it's not such a tight fit, so I don't know if I'll be able to get this one out. Let's try it from the inside. It can be moved So there we go. I think I've managed to get it out. Wow. It's not often you get a dry fit and you're able to pull it out, but this one isn't going to come out. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. So, good. Because I don't know at this stage the implications of not gluing this in. It just may not, it may fall out. So I would like to get them out. Oh dear. But I don't want to damage the part getting them out. There we go. Right, so what we're going to do then, so I can see that all of this inside will be hidden by this. So I'm actually going to put glue onto the studs, and I'm going to put a tiny dab in between the holes. So let's get my super glue with a brush. I am technically applying too much glue, but that's absolutely fine. Oops. So there's my little run. I keep getting a run down the stick. It might be because it's new glue. So 4 studs. Do you know, I don't actually like this glue much. It's quite difficult to work with. Right, on the studs, little dab there, little dab there, little dab there, little dab there. Now I do have to work at some speed, because once this set, there we go, as I put it in I had to twist it a little bit because I didn't get the holes in place straight away. But obviously if you put glue on the studs, if you drop it on and it doesn't go into the hole, you run the risk of gluing it, so like that, rather than in. So let's do the same to this one. Glue on the studs, and then a little bit into the middle of each one. And this one was a little bit looser than the last one, so drop it in, twist, there we go, straight in. So that's those stages done. So on to stage 5. Fit the small cylinder 26.5 into the hole at the top of part 7.2. The cylinder only fits loosely, so you will need to hold in place. You may prefer to fit in step 10. So I will have a look, but if it's a loose fit, I will fit this in step 10. So, and I got a feeling that anyone who's already done this before me will be going, yep, you'll be fitting that in step 10. So yeah, that goes in there. So look, you can see if I let go, that's going to fall out. So let's completely ignore that. We have read the instructions out, so I won't really refer to it too much until we get there. But let's now have a look at step 6. Take the upper arm assembly from stage 7. Note that the 2 arms on this part have different types of connection on the free ends, 4.5 and 4.6. And then step 7, fit one of the pegs on the end of part 4.5 down through the hole on the side of part 7.2. So this is the part that it's talking about, and we do indeed have 2 types of connections. So this is kind of a T, where you've got a peg on each side, and this is not a T. What would you call this? So what's going to happen is this is going to fit. I think we're going to need to rest this on the table. So that's going to go in like that. And I pull this out to give myself more room, so that's going to go in like that. And again, I think we're going to work better with the light off, so that's going in there like that. But let's have a look at step 8. With the arm in place, fit 2 washers 26.3 onto the peg of the arm 4.5. and then fit part 7.3 back in place on part 7.2. So what we need then are these two washers, which have one of which has fallen out of the bag already, and there is a spare one as well. So what we need to do is place one washer on one side, and then that goes into the hole, and then the second washer goes over. This is the T-joint. Then we need to take this part, remember we removed this earlier, and then we're going to place that in there so it goes over, and we're going to make sure that's still in, which it is, because if we let go of that and it's not in properly, then the washers are going to fall out. The washers are just really there just to protect the joint, make things run a little bit smoother, reduces friction and obviously burning through this plastic. So I've put that screw in almost out all of the way, and let's move this in a little bit closer so maybe you can see what I'm doing then. So take the second screw and we place that into the second hole, and that didn't want to go in, did it? So that's going in fine. So I feel the need to lift this up because the angle that I like to screw from, so bear with me. And I'm just going in until it's tight, but I'm not over tightening it because there's quite a bit of plastic around, so I'm happy with that fit. So let's have a look at step 9. The second peg on part 4.5 is held in place in the screw in the hole on the side of part 7.3. Replace the 2 PM2 by 6mm screws. Okay, so it actually wanted us to replace these. Oh, replace them, not replace them, but place them back in again. I think there was a little bit of confusion with the words there. If it says replace, I would take those screws out, throw them away and put 2 new ones in, but I think replace meant put those back in. So step 10, turn the assembly over and fit the central part of the upper arm over the top of the lower arm. Ensure that the cylinder 26.5 is in place on part 7.2. So we'll turn this over, and this piece is going to slide into there. We might have to just move these cylinders a bit, and that's going to go in like so. And I just want to see that the hole is, there we go. So when you put this in, you can see that you've got these, they've got markings, and then obviously we've got them on this side as well. So when this goes in like this, when you move this, it'll make a bit of a clicky noise just where they rub, which is what it's meant to do. It's meant to lock into place. So step 11, note that one side of part 4.6 there is a slight recess around the hole. This side should be uppermost as it is fitted. So there is a little recess. If I turn that round, there is no recess, so this needs to be up. So step 12, no, let's stop, go back to step 10 because that's where the cylinder comes back in, so that needs to go into the middle. However, at any point that we let go, that's going to fall out. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. Right, so let's have a look at step 12. Adjust the length of part 4/6 so that you can fit it over the cylinder in the hole on part 7/2. At the same time, ensure that the central part of the lower arm is sandwiched between the central parts of the upper arm. Fix part 4/6 in place with a PM 2x10mm screw. The pan head of the screw fits in the recessed part 4/6. So I think the best thing to do is we'll just take this and then we will just adjust that so it's perfectly over there. So then we need to pop this the sleeve in. That's from an earlier stage, and there we go. So what I've tried to do is just supporting it with my finger. That's just to stop this cylinder from coming out. We need to just gently slide this piston in, and then at that point it's no longer going to fall out because it's supported by the part. Then we can just try and find the hole. There it is. And then then we're screwing this in, and it's going to be a pan head screw, and all my bottles of glue are falling over. We want the pan head screw. Check the fit with a screwdriver, and lovely. I can feel that going through that cylinder. So let's screw that in. If it's going in, it's fair. There we go. So what's happened is that the top, it's gone through the top. This piece there, the hole is bigger than the screw. The cylinder in the middle is bigger than the screw, but then this bit is the correct size. So all you're doing is screwing it to this bottom bit, leaving this bit loose, and there we go. So there's a little cylinder there, and that's a kind of a washer. It prevents the friction going around. So if I've done this correct, there we go, look, we have movement. However, it's not fixed in the middle yet, which is going to come in a later stage, but we have movement on that arm, which I'm very happy about. But you see, this is typically how a muscle works. You have one piston, or is it a tendon or a ligament? You have one tendon is pulling and one is pushing, and that's the way they work. So one's pulling, one's pushing, and that's how you get the movement. I'm not going to move it too much because, as you can see, this is trying to fall out of the joint, so I just need to get that lined up. There we go. So I'm going to leave him like that for the moment, and then we'll move on to step 13. Fit the washer 26/3 over the 3x10mm Allen screw. Take part 25/2 supplied with the previous stage and push the shank up through the elbow joint, as indicated by the blue arrow. Fit the screw into the hole in the centre of the elbow joint indicated by the red arrow. So this is the piece. Where has the piece gone? There we are. This is the piece. So that's, I see exactly now. There we go. So there's the hole. So this is going to go in through there. Now note, we've got some flattened sides, and this has got two flattened sides. So that's going to go in through there, like so, and that's going to come out at the bottom there. So we have a washer, and we have the Allen key screw, and that's going to go into there, and we take the supplied Allen key. Now I've never been taught how to do this, but I take this long end and then I can use that just to get the screw started. You see how I can rotate that, and we get that going with that. And then once we get it so it's fairly tight, which this isn't going tight. Why is that not going tight? Right, okay, it's actually pushed the shank down. There we go. So that's all fallen out. There we go. So we tighten this up. To be honest with you, the screwdriver that I use, I actually have a part for this, but as I've said in previous issues, it's really nice if this is, for example, your first part work and you don't have tools, you can still complete this. So I've tightened this up as much as I can with this end. So now we just turn it over and we can just give that a little bit of a turn just to tighten. And then what we want to do now is we want to just check this, and that is way too tight, so we're going to loosen this off a little bit until we are able to get some movement, and that's way too tight, which is a bit of a disappointment. There we go. So obviously by tightening this really tight, where you've got, if you looked underneath this, you've got ridges, a cross section, it would be like this. So as you move it, they go through the ridges. By tightening up too much, you really push those in together and they can't move. So what we've done is we've just loosened it. You see the white on my fingertips? That shows you I'm pushing really hard. If you just loosen them, you haven't changed the position of the pegs, but they can move easily, and that's the basic principle. So do this to taste. This is actually fairly stiff, which is to my taste. So we've got position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I would suggest that's the maximum position. So we've got 7 positional positions on the arm. I think that's quite satisfactory. It's tight to move, and the reason I'm spending a little bit of time on this, I might actually just loosen it a little bit more. I know that the next stage is to glue a cover over there. That means that's better actually. That means that once that cover is on, you are not ever adjusting that screw. So what you need to do is hold this very loose. Remember that this is part of an arm of a model that's going to be on a stand. It may not be very tight, so you need to make sure you can move this, and I think a good way to do that is to pop this on the table, move it with your weak hand. Can you move it? Now when you actually move the model, you'll probably hold this arm and then move it like that, but if you can do it one-handed, which I can, and then you can shake it and it's not moving by itself, I would say that's the desired tightness. So on to stage 15. Take part 26-2 and check how it fits into the center of the elbow joint. See next step. Apply a little super glue to the 2 raised pegs on part 26-2, and then step 16, fix part 26-2 into the center of the elbow joint as shown. So this is part 26-2, and what's going to happen is that's going to go in there like, oh, do you know what, I tell a lie, look, the screw is exposed, so that's really good. So that's, you can still adjust that even after you've put this on. So as you can see on mine, it's a really tight fit. So we have 2 pegs there, and we have 2 peg holes there, and I think the simplest way to do this is to either, as the magazine says, put the glue on the pegs, or you might find it easy applying the glue to the peg holes. And the reason I'm suggesting the peg holes is I'm going to drop this in. If that's not dropped into the correct place, the pegs aren't actually going to make contact with the glue. They won't actually make contact until they are rotated, so I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. So let's put one drop in there, one drop in there. Be careful not to get the glue on the screw. You can try not to, but you can get glue on the washer, but not on the screw, because it could stop this from turning. And if you're using a very strong super glue, as I am, it will hold. You will not be able to move that. So still got my movement, and let's see if it's not stuck down yet. It's because I haven't. This is a slightly weaker glue, so I need to give that a bit longer. However, if you're doing this weekly, that is the end of the stage. So you've got a whole week to let that dry. So I'm going to turn this round, and I'm going to place it like that. I'm going to move my camera up. It's starting to get big now, isn't it? So as you see, all my rubbish that I tried to hide on the side of the camera is there. Now we have got one piece left over, which is this. So let's bring up the stage complete. The upper arm and lower arm have been connected at the elbow. The left shoulder part 26-1 will be used in a future stage. So that's that done. Now we have progressed just 6 stages since I made my intro video, and this is what it looks like now. This, I think, is the shoulder, is it? So I guess it's going to go there somewhere, and there's the head. It's getting large, so I will end the video there with all of my parts out. Oh, and we got a battery tester as well. So there you go, guys. This is my Terminator after only 26 issues. Only 26. Which means we're about a fifth of the way through. And I hope to catch you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.